Welcome back to Casual Buzz Rugby. I might not be as enthusiastic today as usually. I really got served some absolute humble pie. I was very confident going into this game. That first 15 minutes was a tough watch. This is the match review. Very tough. Let's get into it. All Blacks 35, Springboks 20. I don't even know what to say, man. That first 15 minutes was probably one of the hardest watches I've ever had to do. Like, we were absolutely demolished from start to finish. I got a bit hyped up when I saw we made like a slight comeback. I thought we got ourselves back into the game just to concede again at the end. But oh my goodness, that first 15. My asshole was doing this. Because I was thinking, this is another 40, 50 pointer getting put past us. So Springboks lost the game. The Kiwis can be in my comments absolutely destroying me. Because I gave some banter. Now you can give it back to me. And then thirdly, I lost money. Because I bet on South Africa. Obviously. But crazy game. One of the better games. Even though South Africa lost and stuff, it was still an enjoyable game to watch. Literally the running rugby. There were so many holes in our game today. So many mistakes. Everything. We'll get into it. We'll go through every player and really say who stood out and who had an absolute shocker. I'm not even going to waste time. Let's just get into it. Starting off, I'll just go with the packs. Very competitive in the scrum. Those first couple of scrums, I think New Zealand actually had the advantage. I think New Zealand got more penalties at scrum time. I was very surprised about that. Frans Malherbe struggled in our defensive scrums. Kitsy, I think he had a decent game. But Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, Tyrell Lomax, they were just so good, man. So good. The new scrum coach, I think it's a new scrum coach or forwards coach that New Zealand has got in, has really been doing a job for the pack. Even though I thought Cody Taylor had like a quiet game, he was still very, very good when it came to his set pieces, whether it was with the lineouts or the scrums. New Zealand won that facet. Brodie Retallick just showcased his class. Moving on to the locks. Brodie Retallick disrupting our lineouts. Eben Etzebeth really had one of his more quiet games. I think Scott Barrett is one of those workhorses. You don't always see him, but he's just brilliant. But shout out to Brodie Retallick. He had an absolutely brilliant game. I think Luet has one of his worst games that I've seen in a while. Couldn't see him that much. We lost a couple of lineouts. It was just like our strong points were almost our weak points in this game. It's almost tough to find words. I didn't expect this at all. Kwagga Smith had a decent game. Franco Morster, I think he had an absolute horror show today. Jasper Wiese, probably the worst game that he's had in the green and gold ever. And I mean this very nicely. Ever. I think he's had the knock-on that he had at the start of the game just highlighted his whole performance. The ball bounces in front of you and you just tap it forward. It's almost disgraceful. But I have to give immense respect and credit to the Lucies of New Zealand, because I thought all of them were absolutely brilliant. Shannon Frizzell. Now on TikTok I said, just for the banter, I said he's only had one good game in his life, and it was last week against Argentina, and he absolutely destroyed us today, especially in that first couple of minutes. He was brilliant from the get-go. Tough, physical, tough to keep down, tough to keep out of the game, good at the breakdown. Adi Savia did the Adi Savia things. That's why I say he's the best player in the world, easily. Sam Cane, didn't see too much of him, but when he got injured and Papa Lee came on, Papa Lee was brilliant as well. When it came to just the pure forwards, the first 8, New Zealand was so good, man. So good. Physically, we had a couple of guys that could fetch, but New Zealand, something that stood out and usually goes under the radar, is just the cleaning. We have so much fetches on the ball, But we couldn't get it because the ruck and the clean outs from New Zealand was pinpoint, spot on, absolutely brilliant. Moving on to the backs, Faf de Klerk, he had a very up and down game. Very, very up and down. I mean, got injured at the end. It's tough. But I mean, Grant Williams had a brilliant game in my opinion. Probably one of the standouts for South Africa. I think he should get more game time. He showcased that he has to be in the squad to play. Aaron Smith showcased why he's still the best 9 in the world. I said it in the preview that you can mention DuPont and stuff, but I mean, Aaron Smith, just the experience, his calmness on the ball, brilliant to see our guys are tracking back slowly. Just pass it into them, get that quick penalty advantage, easy slot that goal for Richie Mo'unga, who we'll get to, who was absolutely brilliant. Aaron Smith just showcased best in the world. There's no doubts about it. I said he's the best to ever do it. Let me put on this light. Jeez, I forgot about it. Hang on. Is that better? I mean, world-class performance for me from Aaron Smith. Getting taken off at 60 minutes. 60 minutes of just pure brilliance that we witnessed. Damian Willemse and Richie Mo'unga. I think Willemse was actually a decent player for us today. I don't think he did too much wrong. Defensively secure. Yeah, he missed a tackle on Richie Mo'unga there at the end, but I mean, the game was already won and lost there. But Richie Mo'unga, shout out to him. Dude, so many people doubted him, and he was literally a destroyer. His up and unders was spot on, hitting that ball to the middle of the field. The guy was absolutely brilliant, and he just showcased why he should be the starting 10. I know you want to see Damian McKenzie, but I think Damian McKenzie would be better from the bench as an impact player. But that's just my 2 cents. Richie Mo'unga, absolutely brilliant. Moving on to the centres, Damian de Allende, Lukania Am. Damian de Allende had a very quiet game. Every now and again when you saw him have the ball, he got over the advantage line like he usually does. But I mean, it wasn't his best performance. Lukania Am as well. I think Lukania Am was very vulnerable in defence at the start. Missed a couple of notable tackles. Jordy Barrett and Rico Ioane, to be honest, I didn't see much of them either. Now, they could have had brilliant games, but of course you focus more on the Bok players. I didn't see much of them, so I'd probably say that they are the 2 guys from New Zealand that went under the radar, so I'm not going to say too much about them. But we're going into the standouts for me from the New Zealand team. Those back 3 were absolutely brilliant. Mark Delia was ruthless. Now, yeah, I didn't get all that running meters like he usually does and stuff, but the small things that he did is just absolutely brilliant. The kick that he got that he stole from Damian Willemse just showcased. And Damian Willemse is very good under the eye ball. Very, very good. He turned his body, got that ball, and automatically New Zealand had some front foot ball. Mark Delia was for me brilliant, but Will Jordan was absolutely unplayable. Coming back from injury and putting in a performance like that is something to be witnessed. This guy, he's world class. Listen, the guy is absolutely world class. I mean, it's tough to give that much credit to another team that just beat us. I'm still soaking in the loss. I hate losing. I'm a terrible loser, but I mean, it's one of those things. And then Beauden Barrett, I think he's one of the more underappreciated players for the All Blacks at the moment. Of course, you guys watch him more when it comes to Super Rugby, and I hear he's not one of the standout players when it comes to the Super Rugby, but today, just his calmness on the ball and things he does, especially that try that Will Jordan scored with the cross kick, just the calmness, gets the ball, quickly switches direction, gives the cross kick to Will Jordan to dot it down. I think Beauden Barrett had absolutely brilliant games. His kicks as well. Those kicks where he switches the direction in his own 22, launches it up, tests Mapimpi. Mapimpi looked absolutely lost under the eyeball today. It was a brilliant performance from start to finish for New Zealand. Immense credit to them. Outplayed us, outworked us. I don't have too much to add. Moving on to the back 3 for South Africa. I think Mapimpi had one of his worst games that he's ever played for South Africa. Now, I know everyone says Kurtley Arendse should play in that 11. I think Kurtley Arendse has solidified his place without even playing. Just that's how bad Mapimpi was today. But I think Mapimpi is still a trusted player in our team. We can't forget what Mapimpi has done for this team. But I mean, it's time to move on. Get Kurtley on the left. Cheslin was brilliant today. Cheslin on the right. Villy, I was so mad at Villy. He's just defensively so vulnerable. He got bumped to the floor by Shannon Frizzell, trying to tackle him high and stuff. I mean, I love Villy on attack when there's like no pressure on him and he can just play his free-flowing rugby. He'll be brilliant when you play a team like Italy or Japan, even maybe a Scotland, the teams that aren't that physical. But I mean, in my opinion, it has to be Willems at 15, get Mani at fly off. I think Mani had a very good game when he came on. Yeah, he got held up that one time, but I mean, that's one mistake. The game was already said and done. Moving on to the benches, Malcolm Marx, as always, showed he's the best hooker in the world. I mean, I already feel almost going, just like leaving the video. It's just a tough one to make. Samisoni Takiao, very good. Mighty Williams got on for his debut, won a scrum penalty in his first one. That's something you want to check on your list. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, I already said Papali'i was great when he came on. Christie, just under the radar. Same with Braden Eno. I don't think Caleb Clark even got onto the field. But the bench for South Africa made the game a lot more interesting. I think Pieter Steff, when he came on, had a brilliant game. Ergie Snyman came on, brilliant game. Dwayne, didn't have much to do, Dwayne, but I want to give a special shout out to Ergie Snyman and Pieter Steff de Toy for when they came on. They changed the game a bit. They swung momentum a bit. I got a bit hyped up here at the end, thinking we were still in the game, but then the tries for New Zealand at the end just closed it down. Grant Williams really had a good performance in my opinion. I think that quick ruck ball, his kicking isn't bad, just brings something different to the table. So I really feel he should start from the bench every game, bring something different, a big impact with Kobus Reinach starting at 9 and Mani Lebok at 10. That's what I want to see for the Argentinian game, but we'll get into that in the week leading up to the game. But I mean, credit to New Zealand. I'm not one of those South Africans that blames everything on the ref and stuff. Credit to New Zealand, well-deserved win. Dominated us in that first 15 minutes. We couldn't get the ball. But I mean, it is what it is. We move on. This is probably the title that goes to New Zealand as well. So yeah, this is a tough pill to swallow. It's a bit of humble pie. Let me know what you thought about the game. And I'll see you next time.